audio. One of these days, I'm going to get this thing down, and it's going to be like, bam, bam, bam.
It's going to be like all professional.
Yeah. All right, so what's up? This is Your Music is Bad and You Should Feel Bad. Episode 54. Catching up on some shows and stuff. Most notably, Evergrey.
Notably bad.
Yeah. Well, okay, so the way I look at it, they pulled a Symphony X on us for years. I was like, no matter what their new album is like, I can rely on Symphony X to put on a cool show, play some cool songs, do some whittlies, and have a good time. But then the last time I saw them, they only played stuff from the last 2 or 3 albums, which are really boring and just basic. That's what we gotta start doing. We start calling that shit basic.
It's basic AF.
It's basic AF metal.
It's not so much that it's boring, as it's not good.
Yeah.
It's also boring.
It's also butt rock. It was also like the latest one is just straight up butt rock.
The thing is, no, it's not as butt rock. For me, the bar of turning butt rock will be Arsis.
Yeah, well,
forever.
it's not. No, it's not as pure butt rock.
It's not as pure butt rock, but it is very like.
It's not as butt rock as
80s,
Adrenaline Mob.
80s
but,
metal.
Yeah. So Evergrey. I mean, I didn't listen to their whole new album, and it turns out that was the right move.
I did, but I forgot that I had.
Right,
I forgot that they had a new album.
The last 3 albums, with the exception of like, there was one really good track on the last one with that
King
sweet
of Bears,
video.
with the yacht video.
The yacht as fuck video.
It's like it starts in like a canoe, and then it ends on like a super like a cruise ship. And they've got that harbor
big
crane.
Yeah, that crazy thing. Yeah.
They're at the shipping dock.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And again, Evergrey always was good shows. And now Henrik's back in the band. And so the last time we saw them wasn't like the best. Like, didn't they play like
they
a little
played
bit
like
of everything?
Right, and they played a bunch of tracks off In Search of Truth.
Right. Which, I mean, to be fair, that's because they did it at Prague Power as a thing.
But that was a long time ago.
It was like a few years ago.
Right, but this was like less than a year ago.
Right, but the point is, like, it was like, okay, they still know. But that's why it's even weirder that they didn't do anything from it this time.
Yeah.
Because it was like, did you forget them already?
Yeah, 0.
All those good songs.
Maybe they're trying to just distance themselves from Alex Jones. Okay,
Maybe.
I'm gonna music wars it right now, and I'm gonna say,
fuck, I have a. Oh my god, maybe I have the. Hold, yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna see if I can actually get the bumper.
And I gotta music wars it right now, and I'm just gonna go out on a limb and saying they're trying to distance themselves from Alex Jones, so that's why they didn't play anything off In Search of Truth.
Probably. Before the end of this episode, I'm gonna get this thing on, and then by the time everyone forgets about it, I will.
Blam! You're just gonna blindside them.
There's a war on for your ears.
Music wars.
I want to go to space. That's my favorite still.
I still love that Sega CD parody somebody made.
Okay.
It's like,
yeah, I was like, where is that coming from?
We run a really tight ship around here.
And by tight we mean like,
leaky boat. We're taking on water, basically. So I don't even remember who, like, the name. So the one band was Seven Kingdoms, but the band Need.
Oh yeah.
I showed up during Need. Did you see someone before that?
Who's before Need? I think I showed up during Need.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Who's the first opener? Because I think I know. I might have missed him on purpose. Here, let's see. Evergrey, New York, Webster Hall. All right. Yeah. It was.
I mean, I would have missed all of them on purpose. Could I been able to time it better? But they sent a thing out the day of the show that was like, "Hey, we moved everything earlier," and I was like, "Okay, I don't want to like miss Evergrey."
Yeah.
But in hindsight,
oh man,
I did want to miss Evergrey.
So So like, okay, you're right. Let's start at the beginning though. So Need
was not good.
Yeah.
So this is a band which I'd forgotten that I'd heard.
I think I missed them at Prague Power, even though I was there, but I missed their set.
Yeah, I don't think I saw them at Prague Power. I think I was with you.
Yeah, I think we watched like a video of them and we're like, we don't need to go to this.
I think we need to listen
let's
to
go
portable.
Back to
we need to listen to portable radio again
for the 500th time.
We had very important things to do. We needed to listen to portable radio. We needed to Brain Dance is Lost.
Yeah.
And we needed to listen to Mercy Falls some more, so that we would be prepared. We would know everything to ridicule during their set. Because that's the thing about Need. They're not aggressively bad. They're aggressively mediocre.
Yeah.
So, because that was the thing. I remembered, I listened to them, basically the day of or day before, whatever. And was like, oh, I remember hearing this band. And it's one of those deals where I was like, they're not terrible. This band doesn't upset me that they're booked, but, they're not good.
Yeah.
But then the thing was, this set was really exuded, as I called it, garbage era Fates Warning.
Yeah.
Right? Because they had all the ingredients. The singer definitely wanted to be Ray Alder, and the dude was playing a PRS, which was a 7-string, even though it was short scale. It was 25-inch anyway. And then but then the songwriting was also sounded like all those songs that Ray wrote that are terrible. Yeah,
it's the garbage era. No, okay, so do you mean garbage in that it sucks, or the band garbage? Because there's a little bit of similarity. It's kind of their grungier, very straightforward. A lot of
I think I like
stuff.
Garbage better than this band.
Okay,
so
I just wondered which way you meant it in, or if it was supposed to be a little bit of
It's a disservice to Garbage to compare them to this band. No, Fates Warning, when Ray, basically Ray did, for people who don't know, he did this solo project or whatever, side project called The Engine that was terrible. And then they were like, hey, we need to put out another Fates Warning album. And I guess, I don't know, Jim was probably like, yeah, but I haven't written any songs recently. And Ray's like, that's okay, I'll write some songs. And they're like, fuck it, whatever, man, just phone it in. And they did, and it was terrible. And that's what this band sounded like. And they seemed really okay with that. They seemed really into how mediocre they were, which was very. That's
all right. Yeah. Man. So. Yeah. It was very much like as soon as you said that, I heard the Fates Warning-y bits, but not in a really cool way or anything.
So Kyle wants to know if listening to Mercy Falls is how we prep ourselves for talking about terrible music. And the answer is no.
No, why would I listen to that again?
It's what we do to prep ourselves for seeing them live.
It was literally...
you needed to point out, because it's one of those deals. If you just saw it live, you would be like, what is happening right now?
I had to explain to people... both you guys and also Ben and Steph and whoever else was hanging out, why I wanted to go see them. I couldn't just say I wanted to go see them because I didn't want to go see them because I like them and I didn't want to give that impression. But I had to show people just how ridiculous and incoherent that album was in order that encouraged them to see some of it. Because I had to witness some of it.
And it worked, too, because
when
we walked in, and Ben was like, what? That's the thing.
Yeah, it was like, that's the thing. You just said the thing. Which was, if you fall, I will call you a loser.
If you fall, I will call you a loser. Be like, that's cool. I mean, you are. But in the context of your story, it doesn't really make sense. That band is terrible.
Yeah.
Mercy Falls was one of the most offensively bad sets I've ever seen.
It was pretty bad.
I've never seen ICP live.
Yeah, and they were all dressed like waiters or maitre d's or whatever.
No, they were dressed it's my office job. It's like they work at Staples.
It was black. Black is the weight.
Oh yeah. They were wearing
waiter pants.
Yeah, waiter pants and tucked in white collared shirts, button downs. But Maitre D almost is too high class. It literally is more they worked at Staples or something.
Yes.
And right, that was they all wore it too. They were like, yo, what would be really great for our presentation is if we all looked like we worked office jobs. And you're like, but you probably do. So you're going
but they're
for
from Sweden, so they probably have some government support.
I don't know, man. Tom's from Sweden. Evergrey's from Sweden. They have a little better fashion sense.
Okay. Is this the same? Oh yeah, this is the same thing. Why don't you comment on the fucking thing so that you can help?
Kyle, why don't you learn how to comment? That's what Matt's telling you right now. By the way, thank you for your
because that like yeah, I'm not gonna. Okay, let me not. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm now like distracted to. If you had publicly commented on it, it will both help promote the podcast and also then us responding to it makes sense. But if you're just gonna like private messages during the show, that's just distracting. And I'm like, what's going on? Who's messaging?
Matt
What's
can't
this
handle
message?
it.
Oh, it's the same thing Rich just talked about. Anyways,
Matt has to produce the show.
No, yeah, and that's. I mean, not that I have that much to do.
To
I just constantly feel like I need to be checking the thing. Like it's fine now. I don't have to do anything unless I'm putting something up on the screen. But I'm still weirdly like, what is going? What is it? Camera 1 or camera 2? There's only one camera.
What is this glowing box that I have that connects me to people all over the world?
Okay, I got the bumper loaded, but I don't know. It might be loud is the thing. I don't know.
Only
how the
one way to
volume's gonna
find
be
out.
Like, shoot, all right.
You could undershoot. You could err on the side of
Oh,
caution.
hey, I can turn down
ramp it up.
I can turn down the iPad level. All right, we're gonna try this out.
You could fade it in.
There is a war for your ears. Music Wars.
I want to go to space.
Honestly, it needs a little more explosion.
Yeah.
The explosion should probably like repeat a few times, but
Just put some
it's the first
reverb
version.
and delay on the one explosion.
Right.
Just
Yeah,
like
on the end. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
So is this Music Wars episode 3 or 2? I've lost track.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I think we're gonna do some actual separate segments that we
Okay.
start to integrate,
Alright,
and maybe
great.
we'll make those the actual Music Wars show. But I don't know. We gotta get into. Do we have anything to speculate wildly about this time?
Probably.
Probably.
I mean, I'm sure we'll think of something.
I mean, I could speculate wildly about why Evergrey sucked.
Well, we're not there yet. We got to
you're
talk
right.
about
Sorry, I'm
Seven
skipping ahead.
Kingdoms. The next
Okay.
band.
So we covered Need, right? Needs
Yeah,
all.
need.
Yeah,
There's not a lot to say there.
yeah,
They
it
just
was-
need to be better.
Yeah. So Seven Kingdoms.
Have 0 tolerable songs. That was my take.
Well, as far as I know, they have one song because they all sound exactly the same. They're very
That is
much
true.
The power metal formula.
And she sings the same on all of them.
Yes,
There
yes.
not one where she like tones it down
Oh,
for a
that
stroll
was a
through the forest.
that-
They're all the like she overextends and you're like there is
Yes.
no like there's this thing right in music school like when you have to write an art song and they're like intelligibility matters, and in heavy metal it's like intelligibility is like the enemy of heavy metal. It's like
Yeah.
the less intelligible your vocals are, the like more legitimate a band you are.
Yeah, and I noticed she had like this ridiculous, like cover my ass reverb going on, right?
Well, yeah,
So that-
because she was super pitchy.
yeah, and she clearly like can't sing that style at full force for the entire set, if
Right,
even
and that's
a song.
what all their songs are.
Right, because that's how power metal tends to work. But the problem is like we got people now who are like getting into power metal and they're like, we're doing that, and then they're like, how do you do that? How do you do that? How
Yeah,
do
see,
you
here-
do the whole?
right,
You sing
they're
the-
not-
It's like
see-
then don't sing like that if you can't sing like that.
Well, the other thing that you need to do, so first of all, right, when you're like an actual professional band that makes money, you know how many nights a week you can do that.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, most bands that have a singer that has to sing into dog whistle range
yeah.
have like a part during their set where they like play a really long instrumental or they all play solos or whatever.
Yeah.
And again, for like a power metal band, you think they would totally want to do that. To be like, I'm going to show off this sick shred that has no business in a song. Not that that's ever stopped us from including it in a song before.
Yeah.
But I mean, they should have an overabundance of this. But no, it's like they just, the whole set it's the same. Like it would actually bring some pacing to their set. But
Yeah.
it's like, no, they're just going to play a bunch of songs that all sound
Yeah,
the same.
and
one after another.
Yeah, like the point when I really noticed. Well, I remember the first time I heard of Seven Kingdoms was when they were debuting a music video at Prague Power. This was an actual music video. I mean, it was just a pretending to play, standing in a room.
You didn't have to tell me that. Like, I haven't seen it, but I knew.
But what's funny is then, like, a year or two ago, I remember they came up again. I didn't remember much about them other than they were, straight ahead power metal. They played.
Other than that, they're a Game of Thrones
they played
metal
once,
band. That needs to be pointed out. They're not a Tolkien metal band. They're a Game of Thrones metal band.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So Seven Kingdoms is a reference to.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Game of Thrones.
They're a Song of Fire and Ice metal band.
It's important detection. Although I don't know, maybe they.
I think they predate the TV show.
They probably do.
No, because I looked it up during the show,
right, yeah.
and I was like, I think they predate the TV show.
Yeah, I think you're right. But so the last time there was a thing involving them at Prague Power, they were premiering a lyric video, which is super exciting. Like, I can't wait to see that video you made for the least amount of money possible.
The Gathering.
Yeah. And then on top of that, I had never paid attention. Like, their music did not invite me to investigate further, so I never bothered to like look into whether they're at all like consistent with their concept. Or I'm just like, nah, nope.
You're like, I've had enough.
Yeah, I don't need to hear more.
I've had enough. The immortal words of Kip Winger. I've had enough.
Yeah. And so, but the weird thing was it was from an EP that was not based on Song of Ice and Fire. So I'm like, so you already abandoned, like, I know you haven't finished like the series because nobody has, because George R.R. Martin hasn't finished it, and now he's just not going to. He's like, well, there's a TV show. They can make up whatever they want.
I made enough
I'll probably die before I figure. But then he's like doing other TV shows and stuff. So I think he's just like, yeah, fuck this shit.
Hey,
you guys just finish
follow
this.
the money.
Yeah, and that's a whole other stupid thing. But
we can speculate wildly about that.
We can speculate wildly. But no, it was going to be a thing about about that kind of like book series where people are really, really into it, but it never ends. And then the dude, like, there was another one called The Wheel of Time that was similar, where the dude died before they finished it, but he had like, and supposedly the same thing, like, oh, he's got notes. He knows how it's going to end. He knows how it's going to end in his head because there's a magical world that lives in his brain. And it's like, yeah, well, for some people that's considered a medical condition, but so I don't know where I was going with that, but then like, but who gives a shit? Like, clearly he doesn't give a shit. George R. R. Martin doesn't. He's like, well, whatever.
Like,
anyway, so this particular EP though was it hit a pet peeve of mine, which is that it was based on Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft, and there's a long history, of people doing stuff based on H.P. Lovecraft and having it be completely. I mean, yours, we've talked about this, worked, but like in a lot of cases, especially in metal, there's a lot of like death metal bands who they're just like, well, we're death metal, so that's like dark enough, and I'll just write about.
Right, they're like, we're going to do the same thing we always did, but claim now it's Lovecraftian.
Right.
And it's like, well, that's not really how it works.
It's not how it works, but at least it makes a little sense when you're like a death metal band. But when you're a power metal band that plays major, every song is major.
Yeah.
I don't think they know about minor keys, or if they do, like, they just can't help but kind of end up in the relative major. Like, they probably start in a minor key, and then all of a sudden it's like, and now it's major. You know, like, they're just accidentally resolving. Because that's what their whole set felt like. It was just like a constant like resolution. Like there's like tension, no resolution.
Right.
Resolution. Tension, no resolution. And it was just kind of it was just this little like kind of tonal loop that kind of keeps plopping you back in the same place.
Well, yeah. Well, no, and it's like the classic. That's why I call it the heavy metal harmonic rhythm, right? Where you end and start on the one, right? Like, and that's the thing with power metal. You just never leave the one, and you're good to go. It's just like no, just or like it's like just don't leave that chord, and you got nowhere to go. Why would you go anywhere? Nowhere to go. Right here is great. This is totally metal. Like, just play fast. And as we watched the Stevie T How to Be Power Metal video yesterday, and he points out that there are in fact only 2 drum beats in power metal. This is very, very accurate.
Yeah, he also is really good at making up onomatopoeias for them. I forget the power metal ones, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it was bad, but no. So the thing about this band was they were awful. Yeah, that the girl was pitchy. All their songs were the same.
Oh, the other reason I've been very aware of what they've been up to though is that one of the guitar players is a comparison guy, so he's on the comparison group on Facebook and stuff.
But they did some weird things. So the one dude, the one guitar player, he had his pirate bandana on. He looked like he just came from the Running Wild show. Yeah. And the thing is, and what would happen was, what was weird was like, so the chick singer, she would vacillate between like the pitchy screaming stuff and like sort of like normal intelligible singing. Yeah. And so that guitar player, he would mouth the like normal low parts, and then when she would go and do this like screamy stuff, the bass player would mouth those parts. Like it was so. I don't think it was intentional. I think it was just both like those were like the parts that they liked, right? The one guy, the guitar player was like, I'm all about the story of this, right? And the bass player was like, I'm all about the epicness of it, and he'd be like. And the thing was, the bass player had he had like really long, pretty hair and stuff. So I was like, yeah, it was like he's like the. You get the high parts. It's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They were bad. They were really bad. And bizarrely, this has happened before at Webster Hall. For whatever reason, the light rig is like overkill, but they have a bunch of lights because there's like dance parties that happen in that room.
Yeah.
But it's like there's not like a pre-programmed setup on the board that's like, this is the dance party preset and this is the metal band preset. and so like the lights on the crowd still happen.
Oh yeah.
And they started flashing the red lights on. So first of all, one, they flashed like they flashed right in your eyes. So I moved. But the other thing I was like, are they warning us about how terrible this band is? Like you clear the area. There's terrible power metal happening. Yeah. And I was like, thanks for looking out, Webster Hall.
Yeah, it was like uh-oh, what's happening? Oh, it's this thing we're already watching. Thanks for warning us.
Be like, it's too late. It's like it's already happened. Oh, yeah. Get out. So yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's this weird thing in power metal. It seems to very specifically be power metal, and again, I think it may have to do with this weird thing where, like, over time, the criteria that set the line between power and prog metal, the imaginary line between power and prog metal, gradually moved further and further to where now, if you deviate from that super major for super simple like motor rhythm structure, it's like, oh, that's prog. It's like,
right.
Oh, it's kind of progressive there because of the like you syncopated that one time.
Right. No, like right. If Return to Heaven Denied came out today, people would probably be like, this is really proggy, and you'd be like, no, it's like sounds like from 20 years ago.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of band that used to be proggy, so Evergrey, like, oh man, I was just
bad.
like,
it's the
what
worst
the
set.
hell?
How many times have you seen Evergrey? Because I've seen Evergrey probably 10 plus times.
I mean, with all the prog powers.
Yeah, and it's always been awesome.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Even when they kind of had like Henrik was gone and the keyboardist was gone,
and the bass player's still gone.
Yeah.
The leather skirt left.
Sometimes I miss leather skirt bass player.
he was holding it down, but like he's gone. The original drummer's gone. Yeah. Henrik was gone for a while. Like the only consistent member has been Tom.
Yeah.
And the thing for people who don't know, Tom wasn't even when they recorded that first album. They had a singer, and he quit, and so Tom had never thought about trying to sing, and he just did, and it turned out like his voice totally rules. Like that was just random, but he's been the only consistent member in the band, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's basically it's his band at this point. I think it has been for a bit, but like the last, it's interesting because I was watching. I don't know if it was Tom's in particular, or if it was the Evergrey. I think it was Tom's on Facebook. Like he was posting while they were making the album, and he was posting all this stuff about like, you know, like after all these years, like trying to find inspiration and stuff. And I guess it's like, Yeah, apparently it's kind of tough because I was like,
the well is dry.
like the way he was writing about stuff, I was like, I don't know. This is either going to be a great album or he's just like about to like give up, like or something because it just sounded like
it definitely.
Maybe he gave up on this tour.
Latter.
Maybe he like on this tour he was just like fuck it because honestly that's what the show felt like, and it was the second to last show of the tour. I heard the tour was kind of rough, but I mean. I don't know.
Well, yeah, didn't they miss the early dates?
Yeah, they missed a date.
Because again, I've said this before. I'm going to say again. If you are traveling internationally to tour, maybe start a day or two ahead. Like maybe do that.
Yeah.
So so they lost some money apparently because they missed the first date or two. I don't have all the details. So that was bad.
Yeah,
but,
and then the set list was just it was
terrible. They didn't play anything off Dark Discovery. They didn't play anything off Solitude. They didn't play anything off In Search of Truth. They played Touch a Blessing and Recreation Day. Those are literally, and those were the encores, weren't they?
Yep, those were both the encore in the encore.
Like those were the only two good songs they played.
Yeah.
And Evergrey is not one of those. There's certain bands.
Okay, this is not from this. Oh, this is from 2 years ago. I was like, this set list is way better. Master Plan.
Yeah. No, that was the show that totally ruled. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the thing is, when there's certain bands like Amorphous, where like. Or like Anathema, where they can play songs off their really mediocre albums and they sound way better live. But you can always tell because it's like, well, they're kind of like rocky, and so you could tell like they were probably playing this in their practice space and it sounded really good, and then it just kind of like lost all the energy in the studio. And so then when they play those songs live, you're like, oh, this is like way better hearing it live. But man, the new Evergrey, it's just garbage. It's not. Playing it live can't save it.
Yeah. Well, the last like 3 albums. I mean, this is why it was weird that like he was saying this stuff during the writing, and then like it comes out, and I was like, yeah, you put out the same album. I mean, slightly worse version of the last album.
Well, yeah, the thing
last one has a slight uptick.
Right. That's the thing. They were bottom of the barrel with like Monday Morning Apocalypse and Torn. Like those albums were
those are the worst.
Unlistenable.
Those are really bad.
They are pure garbage from start to finish.
Yeah.
Then King of Errors was a really great song, and it was a really long song too. So you're like, okay. And then there's some other stuff where it was kind of like they were just rehashing old stuff.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay. And then on the new one, it's just like again, it's like pedestrian. It's not offensively bad the way like Torn and Monday Morning Apocalypse are, but it's still not good.
Yeah.
And it's definitely like if I know, like I'm not happy that I paid for the show, and that's how. Luckily, it was early. Like it didn't ruin my whole night because it was over by like 9.
I was so like, I was like, this is gonna be great. These early bands can't go long or whatever because it's a tight show. They got to be done by like 10.
Yeah, because they have this dance party.
Kill it. I'm gonna get some Mark of the Triangle and fucking. Literally any song off In Search of Truth or Recreation Day. And even that Inner Circle one, there's some okay stuff, like Touch a Blessing.
Yeah, which they played. And and even like I don't really like Solitude as an album, but if they play Solitude Within or Blinded, that Blinded's like the best live song because you get to sing along.
And okay, so here's the other thing, right? So it's that same. This is the same thing that concerns me. Is the same kind of thing with Pain of Salvation. It almost felt like. Okay, a couple possible theories. One theory is that they just recorded the album.
Are we speculating wildly?
You're right. Damn. All right.
Hold on, people. We're
gonna get to the bottom of this.
We need to properly introduce.
We're gonna find out what's going on.
There is a war for your ears. Music Wars.
Did you like the pitch shifter down there too?
Music Wars.
Right, it gets that like total digitaled out because you shifted it down.
I did it, yes.
Music Wars.
All right, so
now that we've established,
one of a few things
are we in the war? Are we in the war zone now? Wait, is it the war room? Or if it's war zone, then it's a reference to Monday Night Raw in like the 90s.
I don't.
But if it's the war room,
I'm not sure. I haven't. Okay, so the problem is I keep.
But we're not going to a different room. So we're in the war zone. It's a state of mind.
Right.
We're in the war zone. We've entered the war zone.
I haven't been able to watch enough of it. The problem is whenever I put on a clip of Alex Jones, it's just fucking awful garbage immediately, and I have to stop usually. Also, like if I put one on and it's not Alex Jones, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Get the fuck out of here! Like, this guy's not as crazy. This guy knows he's full of shit. I need Alex Jones.
Is it the guy
the
guy who eats paper?
No, although that guy, I fucking can't stand that guy. That guy is a snotty piece of shit.
Yeah,
he's like.
I noticed.
He's British, but I almost am like suspicious if he just like
it's
made
like
it
fake
up.
British. Yeah,
because
he's
just
like
gonna
fake
be like,
British.
Well, what's really going on, Alex, is that and he's just
my
like
accent.
so and it's like it turns out he eats. Wait, where did that come from? We gotta fucking
It was a Vice article about their diets. It was the InfoWars diet. That was the name of the article.
which is at all
highly misleading because
my
what
God.
it was an article where they asked everyone who works for Alex Jones what they eat. It wasn't about a specific. Forget
Right.
juicing. Try the InfoWars diet.
It's
not. There was no diet outlined here. It was what do you freaks eat?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
and this fucking
Yeah,
tool bag.
that guy.
Paul Joseph Watson.
PJ, what's up, PJ?
So okay, oh god, this doesn't make any sense. All right, so he's like, so it just says occupation editor at large Infowars, which is bullshit. Nobody's an editor at Infowars.
Yeah, there's no editing happening there. It is pure unfiltered.
Yeah, I mean honestly, I don't believe in editors right now. I don't think they exist anymore on the internet because like clearly nobody's editing Vice.
Or well, like you even read the New York Times and there's typos.
Yeah, I don't.
You're like, what is
I don't
this?
believe. I think that it's like producer in music. It means something different and worse. And it's, it probably just means you get paid more, and don't have to write as much. Okay, so diet. Funny you should ask. I'm not going to do it. The voice. My eating habits are not normal. I suffer from the pica eating disorder. This means I literally eat books, pages of older books especially. I have managed to curb it in recent years, but it's still a thing. There's no real treatment. It's not harmful to my health, though. Still, at least I can safely say I'm consuming knowledge. No, you can't. That's not how books work. Well, first of all, you clearly don't understand how books work.
You should just drink.
You gotta look at them with your eyeballs.
You should just drink ink and find out how knowledgeable you become.
Yeah, and then he says exercise is boring, but he does some whatever. I don't believe he exercises at all.
I don't care about their exercise. I care about I care about the InfoWars diet.
Like they asked you what your diet is like, and he was like, "Well, I have this weird thing while I eat paper." Anyway, he didn't say anything else. Like, is that it? Do you just eat paper?
And,
does he live off paper?
No. And the thing was, when we first read this,
right?
Your comment was really great. You were like, they totally softballed you questions to make you seem like relatable human beings, and you came back with, "I eat paper."
Oh, you had to do.
You had one job.
Just act like a human. Just act like
somebody a normal fucking person
that people can
for
relate
5
to.
seconds. And no, you couldn't do it.
And you come back with a disorder that's probably, if you look it up, I bet it would say most cases disappear in adolescence. One of those things where like people get weird habits, but then they go away unless you're this guy.
I don't know, but I don't know anything about it, but I'm willing to bet, my wild speculation is that if we went on like a message board that was dedicated to this thing,
yes,
there would be a bunch of posts where they'd be like, this guy doesn't really have this thing and he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's my guess. They'd be like, that's not even what it is.
Yeah.
He's full of shit. That's my. I'm enjoying the speculating wildly. It's great. So we were about to speculate wildly about some music
Evergrey,
thing.
about Evergrey.
I thought it was Pain of Salvation.
Well, it was
okay.
the same thing. So the same thing, which is that they felt like. I mean, much more so Evergrey than Pain of Salvation, but they felt like lazy sets where there was just like there's nothing challenging. And so, that's why I'm bored, because there's nothing that interesting musically, but also it just seems like you can kind of just phone it in.
But even then, the Pain of Salvation set at least was like kind of interesting.
Oh, right, no. And again, it's a different degree.
Yeah.
But again, it was more like with the Pain of Salvation thing where it was like, like they didn't, like, those fills are missing in rope ends, which made me realize certain things had been kind of like simplified a little. Yeah.
It also was not sufficiently syncopated. It was like super straight.
Yeah. And it just, yeah. And I was like, hey, remember how the intro to this song is super badass and cool? And then it was like, this doesn't feel as cool as it usually does. Oh, because I'm waiting for that. And it was like, like where's the extra? It's every time it adds a note slightly earlier.
Right,
it's a thing.
He just followed the guitar. It was metric consinity. That's the music theory term for why it sucked. Metric consinity.
So I don't know. Well, my thing was like, okay, so I guess they did like I guess, you recorded the album, so I understand they're going to play a lot of stuff from it, but then they also played a lot of stuff just from the last one.
So speaking of that, Ragnar posted a video. This was an interview with him.
Yeah.
I don't, it was some publication. I don't know what it was. But he said two really interesting things. So I didn't know, I've never been to Iceland. He's like, there's no trees in Iceland. He's like, so moving to Scandinavia was awesome. He's like, cause I have like trees in my backyard. I didn't know that. So anyway, that was interesting. And then he also, I think most people know now that the sample at the beginning of Meaningless is his voice, but he actually showed like how he did it. Cause he was like, he's like, when I'm working on tracks, he's like, it doesn't matter whatever session. He's like, I just open my computer and just import like random sounds from whatever. And he's like, and I had this one from this other thing, and then I pitch shifted it, and it sounded like this. Like, he's just like, I'm just fucking around, and this is what comes. He's like, I just shit this out, and it was awesome.
Okay, so
even my shit is gold.
This is actually a more interesting topic than where I was going, which is, I've noticed this. Like I was so I was complaining the other day, about Childish Gambino. So I saw, if you don't know, Childish Gambino is Donald Glover is his name. He's also an actor and comedian and writer, but he decided to go into music for a few years as Childish Gambino, doing rap, and he also is a pretty good singer. But one of the issues, I'm a huge fan of his in comedy, and so I was curious with the music, and it wasn't that it didn't seem, it's not bad. Like the whole time I was like, okay, well he's not bad. Like he's competent, like at rapping, although. I feel like that's the thing that people get too excited about. Like it's a certain amount of basic rap, okay. Like people are like, I'm so good at rap. It's like, all right, settle down. Like, first of all, you're all right at rap. Second of all, that's not that big of a thing. But he can actually sing, and his new album, he's doing a lot of singing. But one of the issues is that he's a huge fan of Kanye. And so on the one hand, I was listening to like an interview with him. I was trying to like, maybe he'll give me some insight into why Kanye is supposed to be a big deal. And he gave me a little bit of insight, but more he gave me an insight into why he's not that great, which is that he's so into Kanye. And it's like, he thinks everything Kanye's doing is amazing. And so he's doing similar stuff and thinking it's amazing. And I'm like, but you're just copying Kanye. Like after a while, it's like, not all of his stuff sounds like Kanye, but a lot of it. And, the new thing is different, but it's just like another super retro 70s kind of thing, like kind of everybody's been doing in one way or another. And so it's all right.
Progressive rock is all the rage.
Yeah, and in this case, it's like progressive soul is the big thing in like hip hop and stuff like that. It's like regressive soul and R&B, but like when you listen to the actual songs, you're just like, it's the same shit. It's the same. There's nothing that interesting or new. There's nothing new is basically what it is. There's nothing really new about it. And so now he's retiring, at least as Childish Gambino. I bet he's going to come back. He'll make up another name or some bullshit in a few years if he wants to, if he makes a beat and he's like, oh, I should put this out. Because my whole thing is like, I don't think real musicians retire. In my mind, it's because I'm like, how would I be positive I'm never going to come up with anything else? You know what I mean? Like, how would I that doesn't make sense to me. Like, unless I plan to
leave him wanting more, Matt.
Unless I expect to die at a specific date, I'm like, what if you could retire when you're 60 and then all of a sudden you're 80 and you're like, I want to write something. So the whole retiring thing is bullshit. It's usually just marketing and a way to like boost the sales on a tour so you can go on a long vacation of like a decade or some shit. But that's the way it usually works out, right? Most people who are like, I'm retiring, they come back.
Yeah.
Ozzy and Black Sabbath and all these assholes. So that's why I think it's dumb. On the other hand, though, I think good, because I think he's much better at comedy, and he's so fucking funny. And like, people don't even understand, because I mean, they know if they watch Community, but before that, like, I used to see him in this improv group with these other two guys. They had a ton of sketch videos online too that were really good. Like, I mean, the first big one they had was Bro Rape, That was the big,
yeah.
with like, bro, you want to come over and play, was it GameCube and listen to Jack Johnson?
That is what it was.
Yeah, and which I guess like that's part of his thing, right? He's all like up around 30 now. I don't know exactly how old. He's probably 30 or something, but you know, he was all like, I'm all serious now and mature, and like Atlanta, he put out this show. It's like it's about Atlanta, and so it's very relevant culturally and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, and it was good. It's very good, but also like, wasn't that funny? Like, really funny guy, like just really being not funny a whole lot of the time. And like so in addition, he had all these great sketches, which were like extremely high quality for like internet stuff. Like if you compare to like the Lonely Island, you know, the dudes who got famous for doing all the like joke rap and stuff. Before they did all the joke rap stuff, they got on SNL because they made these web videos and stuff. Derek is the name of the group that Donald was in with Dominic and DC, which is why they called it Derek, because they all have different D names. Their videos are way better than Lonely Island. Like, their sketch show videos are so much better and funnier than Lonely Island. It's ridiculous. And I used to go see them once in a while in New York when I first moved here at UCB Theater. They had a Saturday night, like, midnight show. It was improv. It was just like one of the best improv shows, like, I've ever gone to, and regularly. It was regularly good, which is another weird, like, honestly, there's so much.
Because a lot of times that shit's really hit or miss.
There's even good groups. You go to UCB, you move to New York, you go to UCB Theater, you're like, I'm gonna go to this shit every week. And then like 2 weeks later, you're like, a lot of these people are not that good yet. And maybe I will come back when they have improved. But then if they are good, like a month later.
You'll see them on something else.
You see them on something which they moved to LA for. Yeah. So like if you're like, this guy's great, and then they move to LA and then they're on a TV show, which is what happened with Donald. Like, he suddenly was on Community, and I'm like, did he leave New York? He left New York. But anyway, so he literally had this thing where he's like, I'm afraid I'll never outgrow bro rape, which is a reasonable thing. But my thing is, I'm like, but like, don't underestimate the make some comment. Like he did Community, but you know, he didn't write that. And then after that, it was just like, I'm gonna make music for a few years.
The other thing is, like, comedy rap can totally work too. So
right,
like,
well, that was the thing.
Feel free to do that.
That was the thing, though. Everybody expected him to do that, so he was like, "No, I'm serious. I can be as serious as Kanye." But that's the thing. Like, it's the same as Kanye, where he's all like, "I'm an artist. This is super important." But then you actually listen to any of his songs, and the deepest it ever gets.
I don't think you understand what important or serious means. Right. Also, you're married to a Kardashian.
The deepest it ever gets is, especially Kanye, is like, yeah, his baby mama won't let him see his kid or something, and it's like, yeah, well, and it's like, just because I hit her, it's like,
yeah, that's kind of a big deal. That's like a serious problem.
Why don't you write a song about how you've realized you shouldn't hit women? Oh, you haven't done that? No, there's no Kanye song about that.
Ain't that serious?
What the
what the shit? Serious yet?
Like, and then it's usually about, you know, how he is good at rap or music, and he fucks, right? That's the usual theme, is like, did I mention that I fucks? Like, you know, like, somebody made a really good joke about Drake recently. We're like, we get it, you fuck. Like, because Drake's, every song, it's either about like, ooh girl, or it's like, don't fuck with me because I fuck, you know, like, it's just, it's all that same shit. So like, I listened to some of his stuff, and he's a Donald Childish Gambino, which, by the way, he got that name from the Wu-Tang name generator.
Oh yeah,
so that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, like, he got it from that, and then he just like used it. But yeah, I mean, his music's like all right, and I like some of it. Like, I like a few of the songs on his like really big earlier album, and I listened to this new one a little bit, and it's all right. It's smooth. The new one's smooth as fuck. It's not yacht smooth, but it's smooth. But again, it's more like R&B, soul smooth, but it's still like, I watched a video with the guy who produced it, and it's interesting because he met him on Community. He was the guy who did the music on Community, and they got together and did this thing, and he's going through this thing, and it's the song Redbone. It's been in a lot of places. It was in that movie Get Out, and everyone's making this big deal about like it's got this. Well, first of all, the verse, it just sounds like he's talking to some woman because it's that kind of thing. And so then I'm like, all right, so take it easy with your important shit. But then the chorus, he's all like, stay woke, and I'm like, what the fuck? What is that? Do you elaborate? I don't think he elaborates on how to stay woke and shit. Like, it's just that's the thing. It's just so, like, I said stay woke in my song, so like, I got something to say, which is stay woke. Is
Right.
that it? Is there more? Is there more to this? Is there more to this premise?
Instructions for wokeness would be
right. That would be helpful. Maybe some.
You saw the Hard Times article I sent over, right? That was woke dude putting everyone at party to sleep.
Yes. There's been a lot of good jokes in like TV shows too about like woke dudes at colleges just being like overly aggressive with their attempts to convey their wokeness, and it's super lame. So
see, I mean, in the past, if you were woke, like you exploited that information to enrich yourself, but now I guess you're supposed to like, I don't know, get upset.
Yeah. I don't know, something about the patriarchy. Anyway, yeah. So the Donald Glover thing is interesting because, oh yeah. So this came up because I saw an interview with him recently where he describes making music. Again, being like a very, just when people.
This is music.
Yeah, exactly. They just get so like, like when you're making music, and he was just like. He basically described one way to write music, which is very common, which is to throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, right? It literally is like you said, it's just like, I just open my computer, I load up my beats, or like, I mean, not my beats, I load up my
GarageBand, my beat maker, my Ableton,
right?
My whatever,
my machines. I load up my machines.
Yeah.
And,
the machines. I got the machines.
Yeah, and like just and like that's a way to make stuff, but it's like. What do you get if you make all your stuff that way? The same thing you hear everyone doing, because there's no direction to it, there's no structure, and it's like
right. It's peak. This is music,
right? It's
because when people hear it and they're like, "That sounds like stuff."
Right.
This is music. Yeah. It's so like I'm into this, right?
And at most, you have two parts to your song. You have A and B. Maybe a bridge. Maybe if you're like really want to push the boundaries of. Other stuff that's been done, like you could throw a bridge in.
Time you took to make the track.
Right. Yeah, if you really want to take way too long.
I don't want to waste a good section though, just on a bridge. That could be like
a whole other
song.
Half a song. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Or if you're Scott Storch, a whole song. Yeah.
Right. That's true. You can get away with one part.
One half measure is your whole song.
With you can get away with an A section. So it's the same thing. Like there's a lot of that going around, and I think even I think you have the same problem with these metal bands too, and that's part of why it's like it used to be.
Oh, we need to talk about the woke metal bands that I found.
Oh shit! Oh, are they
these new gent bands?
New gent. Oh shit! That's right.
So I was watching wrestling. Because that's the thing I do. And I grew up in Missouri, for people who don't know this. Okay, so, and they have this thing now where they have, like, the official theme, and they're always like, thanks to so-and-so for the official theme for this pay-per-view, or whatever. They're not pay-per-views anymore, but they still call them pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Because it's saying, like they don't have a term, and everyone just knows. So anyway, but, like, one of the recent ones, I can't remember which one, they were like, thanks to Hacktivist for their new thing. And I was like, what is this? Because it sounded like kind of genty. So I was like, I got to see what this is. And I listened to it. It turned out it was rap gent. And it was amazing. Like,
nice.
Like, and not in a good way.
Right.
So, okay, so I got to break this down for people who aren't aware. So there's like 3 rap gent bands. And they're all from like the UK or Australia or New Zealand. And, it's basically, it's like gent with even less of a sense of being a song and rapping. and so they do this thing where like all the songs are 3 minutes long and each song will have like 20 seconds that you're like, man, that part, that's really cool. Like you should make a song out of that. But they're like, no, that's just like the teaser, and the rest of the song is just garbage. And I'm so mad because I wanted to love rap gent so badly in the way that I love Hyper Crush, where it's like this terrible thing that I can torment people with. But like no, like I listened to like 2 rap gent. I can't even remember the names of the other bands, But what's funny is you go on YouTube and you read the comments on the videos, and it's hilarious because invariably people in the comments of whatever band are talking about how it's so much better than one of the other two rap shit bands. They're like, dude, this is way better than Hacktivist. And then you go on the Hacktivist video and they're like, this is way better than that other band whose name I can't remember because my fascination with Rap Gent lasted an entire day.
So should we watch some?
Oh yeah, if you got some. Yeah, if you pull up Hacktivist, I'm sure it will suggest the other two bands, and then I'll remember who they are. Yeah, so Overthrown, like that's the new one that they had they had the track from for Wrestling, but I don't remember which track it was.
All right, let's check out Hacktivist first. What's the first?
Go. You want to play something off Overthrown? I don't know I can't remember the name of the track though. These are all their like tour videos. Yeah, it's like Australian tour. Us in Italy. Us in Moscow. Elevate. That's not a new one, but that's one I definitely listen to.
All right, should we check out? All right, let's put on Elevate.
Yeah, that's an official video. Classic jet riff.
Definitely genting.
They're genting very hard. The drummer gents. They all gent. Look at him gent, dude. Gent so hard. Yeah! Behind the head. You see that stick action? It gets all the way behind his head.
Do they have two vocalists?
Yeah, because like the one guy raps.
The one guy raps and the other guy what, screams or...
Oh yeah, so these guys are super woke. You hear that about he's talking about Ground Zero,
yeah.
Twin Towers, man? He's like investigate 311. The other dude's like, just you wait till I fucking spit fire. He's like, I'm just chilling.
Like, oh, yeah, just wait. It's coming.
Here we go.
They're both rapping.
But it's like slightly less rap. It's like 20% less rap.
This is how you know how woke they're being when he points at his brain. Like, think about it.
Also, this anti-globalist band is wearing Adidas. I would just like to point that out. See, it's got a sing-along chorus, and like, oh man, dude, at the show, you know, everybody's bumping, they're like, we fight fire with fire. We fight fire with fire, we won't burn. They won't burn. Oh, did you see his guitar face, man? That dude was genning hard.
I'm trying to make a new habit of not watching entire videos just in case. But
yeah, so did it recommend one of the other two rap gent bands?
No, I was just gonna put on another.
Oh, okay.
Newer. Oh, here. This is 2016.
He sleeps in his Hacktivist gear. They're ready to jet at all times.
They're literally woke even when they're not actually awake.
Whoa.
They both just rap.
I know.
Who's that guy? What's the white guy?
He's the drummer. That's the guitar player.
There's everybody
Pretending to rap. They've come a long way because they're woke now. Generic jet rip too. Never mind. Okay. This song is just terrible.
No lies, we're giving them the truth. They will leave in a pit, there's teeth in their mouth. On the mic wax, we give them the roof. We crowd surf and get
That was some kind of British. I didn't understand. Wait, is there a porn now? I'm really confused.
So like, I guess this is like a, follow us around our day.
Yeah, because
that one dude's like,
the other guy teaches drum lessons, and this dude films porn.
but he's just a cameraman.
And this guy
He's just a cameraman. It's just a day job.
This guy works construction. This guy works in the studio. They play in a jazz band. It's like a 900 number. This song is so bad. Like, this is bad even for rap chants. This is the most gent by numbers song plus rap. Wait, here's the dissonant, clean, overly reverb part.
Wait, what? Tosin is in this? Somebody's like, is that Tosin at 104?
I don't think so.
But then somebody else was like, yes.
Oh, I missed him.
Let's find
At 104? You probably got to go back a few more seconds. Oh yeah, sitting at the bar.
Oh shit.
He is the bar customer.
I wonder, does he know them, or was he just like in a bar in London and they were like, oh, excuse me, mate, which one? Shoot a video here. And he's like, like, don't you, like,
You probably want me in your video.
yeah. They're like, I don't know if you know, we're pretty big jet rap band here, activist, mate. And he's like, I'm Tosin Abasi.
I have
if
all
you
the
play an
endorsements.
8-string, you're obligated to be a fan of me.
I get royalties every
I get
time.
royalties every time
you
somebody
chant.
every time somebody chants. Every time it goes.
Anytime you have a gratuitous tapping part.
Anytime anyone plays a guitar like a bass.
Anytime your tone is all treble and way too many notes and at the edge of your ability.
And it sounds like this.
Yeah, anytime you thump. Sorry. He gets paid anytime you thump.
Yes.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. Wait, so did it link you to one of the other gent bands?
I don't know. The algorithm? Red-handed denial.
The algorithm sounds familiar.
Some of these are definitely not.
Yeah.
Oh, DVSR,
Oh, that's
right?
it. Yeah, Devastator. This band is
Oh, right. We're like,
DVSR.
what does
We gotta
this
talk
stand
about, Yeah, we
for?
gotta talk about the name. Their name is DVSR, and I thought it was like Divisor or something. Like, I looked it up. It's Devastator. I can't believe I forgot about this. It was so bad. These guys are also terrible. He vapes, so you know he's cool.
Oh, right. And they have extra shitty guitars.
I think these guys are from Down Under. This is literally another song that they're playing over a gent riff, but I can't remember what song it is. Get the fuck out of my face. Okay, I mean, it's your video though. Versatile. We are 100% rap jet. Very versatile. Oh yeah, he's like, fuck these metal elitists. That's us. This video is calling us out.
Oh, shit.
That guy's jetting so hard in that alley. Fuck. Expect no harm. Unless you're listening to Rap Chat, which may be harmful to your health. Is this song about keyboard warriors?
I followed the lyrics here. Is it about hacktivists? Or,
This is a hacktivist diss track?
yeah.
Okay, so this band is like aggressively mediocre.
Let's check out this other one.
Yeah, we need a new track. That one's so bad.
This is like the dash cam video
Oh,
one.
this is another Devastator. Isn't this like a Living Color video?
Wait. they can get away with that? Should we find out?
I don't know, man.
Should we check it out?
Is it by their official account? It is.
Yeah. This is
Live footage.
Hacktivist doing a live cover of N-Words in Paris by Jay-Z and Kanye. Let's see if there's any problematic parts.
They definitely gented it up.
Well, yeah. It's gonna be like, what was that? We heard a Jet cover of like Turn Down for What at Heavy Montreal.
So hard, motherfuckers wanna find me. First prick's gotta find me. What's 50G to a motherfucker like me? Can you please remind me? Flow so hard, this shit's crazy.
I'm guessing it's a lot.
Oh, that's right. That they're the rapsman is
of color. It's a person of color.
Yes. It's of color.
I'm liable to go Michael. Take a pick. Jackson, Tyson, Jordan. Flow so hard, got a stone ring. Stainless steel.
Pretty boring.
Basketball shorts are totally mild.
He's recommending Limp Bizkit, though.
If you escape what other skates, you be in London, get fucked up too. Smoke so hard, let's get blazed. Amsterdam for like 6 days. Jaeger bombs, score royals, spilling names to my sick days. Flow so hard, makes me hate.
He was just talking about how 50K was no big deal, and then he's talking about his sick days. Like, which one is it?
This is another issue in modern lyrics.
Consistency.
Yes,
Making sense.
She said, baby, let's get married at the mall. I said, look, you need
Let's get married at the mall?
Come on,
It's kind of lyrics, so yeah, it's pretty dumb.
It's like the first rhyme he thinks of is that's it.
Usually I think so, yeah. Kanye's not a very good rapper. Like he can rap, but that's not that difficult to accomplish.
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means.
No one knows what it means.
No, it's not. It
Gets the people going.
Flow so hard, motherfuckers wanna find me.
All right, remind me not to listen to Watch the Throne
To Rap Jet.
or this. Yeah.
So I think the algorithm is the only other one. If you want to brave that,
Let's check it out.
it'll probably give you a bunch of like computer science videos. Oh no, there you go. They're the full album. Brute force. Source code. Full deals.
User space or pointers?
Oh man, wait, is it? I want to watch Pointers. I haven't seen it, but like, I can't remember if this is the band or not. But this looks like some garbage I haven't watched yet. So this is gonna be some live.
Wait, what the? Is he jetting while tweaking an Ovation controller? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
dude. Well, I don't think there's any rapping. I think it's just terribleness.
It's like DJ Jet. DJ.
It's green screen pretending to
DJ
jet.
Ent.
Yeah.
DJ Ent.
DJ ENT. Ear, nose, and throat.
DJ.
DJ ear, nose, and throat.
DJ Ear, Nose, and Throat. DJ Ear, Nose, and Throat?
Disc jockey, ear, nose, and throat, coming at you. Spinning hot fire. Yeah, this is awful. Oh, he's playing an Aristides.
Drums sound like they're all triggered.
Because they are.
Yeah.
It's an electronic kit.
They got
Oh,
it
and he's
real
playing
good.
that pop. This is the
Oh,
Samargal.
yeah.
This is the Samargal beat. Yeah. This is really terrible. Oh, he's doing the computer things. He's giving credence to their gimmick. That was the sound from Metal Gear. That was not like an actual computer sound. That's the when someone has been alerted to your presence sound.
Was he just just alerted to our presence watching his
He's
terrible
like,
video.
oh shit,
It's like, oh, somebody's actually watching this?
this is awful. He's like so into pushing this button. He's like, I pushed the button.
He literally was like, oh man. He literally was like, I'm gonna get some DJ stuff.
I'm alive.
I'm gonna push one button.
Push the button. This is awful.
It's only half over? What?
This, no, it's over.
God.
It's. I'm turning it off now. Like, can that be a thing, please?
Yes. That is the thing.
No, this. So this.
Should we check out the other one?
This points out.
User space?
I think this is an ad, although
it
it's
is.
indistinguishable. This points out a very fundamental problem that a lot of bands have when they remove the vocalists is they don't do anything to replace the vocals. They're like, no, we're just play background music, basically.
And that's a huge thing in gent too, because there's so many instrumental bands in gent who like just don't listen to any instrumental music that's written well, I guess. They just listen
well,
like
right. They never listen to classical music. They don't understand how music's supposed to work when you don't have vocals.
They've listened to like
band
gent
music is all like stuff that's been written so that you can put vocals in front of it. It's just background. People don't get that. Oh, this is all kinds of terrible. It's a new kind of mediocre.
Right, and what's really messed up?
What is it with the sleep waking up? Are these guys woke? I don't know anything about their wokeness though, because they don't have lyrics. But they know about computers apparently, or at least video games.
What's ridiculous to me is how easy it is to just replace the vocal melody with a melody in something else.
Right.
And they don't do it. They're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep tapping for like 5 minutes.
Like, I don't like Joe Satriani, but he at least understood, like, if you're gonna play instrumental music, there's a lead part.
Yes. Although there is unfortunately, so like a good example of sort of, they get that but nothing beyond it. There's this band called Polyphia, and it's like the melodies are terrible, but they're there.
But at least they're there.
But barely, right? It's like if you played like if you phrased it slightly less phrasing, there would be no melody. But there's barely a melody.
This is literally like half of a gent song. Like it's missing.
I assume
the
this
vocals.
is the intro that's about to have nothing. It's gonna start genting and then it's completely gonna change.
I don't know. This is really long to be an intro. We're already in like the third section. See?
Shit.
This is the song.
That's the melody.
Those
two notes are the.
That's you're very kind in saying it's a melody. That's the top.
That's the melody.
That's the top voice of the background. That does not qualify as a melody.
It's.
Oh shit, you're right, it's the melody. Fuck. It's genting now, Matt.
Just without the actual.
This is the algorithm for being terrible. This is the how-to.
Algorithm for generating
This is the
music.
how-to to suck.
Oh wait, they have a video for a song called Overclock. Well, this song is pretty underclocked, so let's try Overclock instead. Ooh.
I mean, at least they're on theme. They're on gimmick, even if it's terrible and stupid. These are fractals. This has nothing to do with overclocking. No, it's not even fractals. It's a kaleidoscope. I'm sorry. Check out these
They're obsessed
IBM,
with old computers.
but also video games.
Yeah.
There's no like actual like computation going on. They're just playing video games.
Right. They're like people who they're not actually into computers. They're just into video games, but they think like that's what computers are for. So they're just like computers, video games, more video games, email. Like they don't know what else do you do with a computer. I don't know. You could probably like record more than one guitar track with a computer if you really know what you're doing with one, right? But this guy's just like, I only got one guitar. Can we have a smartphone-centric jet band where we write songs like Snapchat and Tinder? Yeah, but there's that one, who's that shitty pop group that had like a Snapchat song and then they had like
Heart to Heart.
Right. Did we watch them on here? We did, right?
We have to have.
I think we did.
Yeah, they're so bad. This is terrible. We need to go back to Music Warsing. I mean, I know nothing about this band, so we could definitely Music Wars them up. In that, I'm going to agree with your.
There is a war for your ears. Music Wars.
I'm gonna agree with your wild conjecture that they probably don't actually know anything about computing,
right?
And they're just like,
I mean, there are things that's like the algorithm, user space, there's sound. They're words that a person who knows about computers might use. Like they've heard them used before.
They went on Slashdot once,
right? Or like CNET.
Yeah.
To read printer reviews, and somebody was like.
Yeah, you know what? If they were woke, they would have a song about like printer dots or something.
Yeah.
Like some real deep state shit, you know? Oh man, that was bad. Rap chat.
All right. Well, what else is new? What do we got?
I went to the Mutoid Man show on Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
So St. Vitus, right? So that's where they film 2 Minutes to Late Night and stuff. And they had 2 shows. They had Monday, Tuesday, and they were both sold out. And on Tuesday, Jeff hit me up and was like, "Hey, do you want to go to the show?" Apparently, the tickets were $666 too. Like it was like, yeah, which I guess I mean like. I don't know if you sell out St. Vitus 2 nights in a row, but like you only charge $5. Like, what's the take on that? Anyway, who was the opening band? Primitive Weapons, and then Helms Ali, and then Mutoid Man, and so like there were a ton of people. Like we showed up because Jeff was just going straight from work, so we got there at like doors. And there were a ton of, I mean, admittedly, it's a bar, right, that has happy hour. Like, there's going to be, but there were a ton of people there. And so Primitive Weapons are actually really cool. I think I took notes. Hold on. Oh, yeah. So they put on a good show. They were fun. They were energetic. And they had this one song. Like, it was, they were very, I mean, they're like a heavy rock band, like metal band, but they're acutely aware of the business, or like they're not trying to be like, Bushigo, right?
Right.
And so all their songs were like 3 minutes long. And then they played this one song where afterwards they go, "Thanks for sitting through a 6-minute song we just wrote because we don't care." Like it was actually really funny when he said it. It was like, these guys get it. So yeah, they were really good. I hadn't really listened to too much of them before that, and I was like, okay, I gotta go check this out. So then the next band was Helms Ali, which they were kind of like post rock 3-piece, and they set up, and the drummer had a vocal mic, and I was like, oh, that's a bad sign, right?
Yeah.
Because it's usually a bad sign when the drummer's gonna sing. So they all took turns, right? So they were a power trio, right? They had a bassist, guitar player and drummer. They all took turns singing. Their set varied in quality. There were like moments where you're like, oh, this is kind of cool, but it was post rock and like it went on too long, and overall like was not good. But whatever. It wasn't like offensively bad. It was just boring. And then Mutoid Man went on, and they had their whole getup, right? The tuxedo T-shirts, and Guarcinio Hall was there.
Nice.
And he came out and he, told a couple jokes to warm up the room, which was already warm from the previous 2 bands, but whatever. And then left, and then so they played. So this was super weird. The guitar player. So the one guy, the bass player, he plays he's got like a Sun City, like an old super loud Sun City and a Ampeg. It's not a SVT. It's like he's playing like through a V4 or something. And he's playing so I got to go back to the tuxedo T-shirt part is important, right? Because they're black T-shirts that have like the white thing, and they've cut the sleeves off them. And then their instruments are all black and white. So the dude's got this Aria 2 Pro bass basically. That is like half black and half white. Yeah. And I don't know if it came like, here's the thing, like, because my instinct would be like, oh yeah, he got like a cheap bass and then they painted it, but it's like really beat up to the point where it almost like it looks like maybe that was the original paint job. It's just like a crazy bass from the 80s or something. And then the guitar player, he has this Gibson V that's like, it's the same deal. It's like half black and white, but it's like, so the one half is predominantly black and the other half is predominantly white, but then each half has a different black and white. I can't really explain it. It's like this weird double yin yang thing. That almost certainly was like an aftermarket paint job. There's no way Gibson made that. But then his other guitar is a Norlin era, like it's so I don't know if you remember, like when Gibson made all those like bizarre shitty guitars that no one likes, like the Marauder, right? Yeah. Which they tried. This is how hard Gibson tried to get that shit over. They paid Kiss and the Rolling Stones and Santana, and these are only the ones I remember. And to endorse that shit, and still no one bought them. That's how fucking garbage they are. So, but the thing is, the dude didn't have a Marauder. He had the other one, which I think was called like an S1, because it's supposed to be the Strat, because it has single coils, but they're Bill Lawrence, so they're blade style. Like, this is a garbage piece of shit guitar, right? But like, for whatever reason, like, it's just one of those deals. Like, they play that like regressive rock thing, so like it works for what he's doing, but I don't know how he does it. There's no, like, you couldn't pay me to play that guitar. Like, it is such a fucking piece of shit.
Oh yeah.
And then that Gibson V also, it's not like a good one. It's like a 90s one. But they were really fun. Like, they were really funny. And then like partway through their set, Guarcinio came back on stage to play a white Explorer, and do some vocals, and then they closed out with Purple Rain. So like they were super fun. Like, it was a good show, but again, it's like you're not. There's nothing about the music that makes you be like, oh man, this is really great music. It's like, no, it's just a fun rock show.
Yeah.
Like, and they have their shtick down, and they're tight, and like they've got that sound, and they've got the whole retro thing, whatever. It was really fun. If you have a chance to see them for under $7, I'd say take it. But I still would rather watch 2 Minutes to Late Night than watch their band. But it was fun. It was cool. But you know, it's St. Vitus, so the band walks through the crowd and it smells like a dive bar. Like, it smells like a smelly New York dive bar.
So you haven't seen that Duff McKagan documentary yet?
Oh,
have you?
no. And I can't remember. I can't remember if I got it or not. It shouldn't
be hard to find because it's on Netflix.
Yeah, I just can't. Okay, I'll check it out.
If you, that'll be a good episode because
it's ridiculous.
So bad. It's difficult to watch though.
I did see,
not because, I mean, there are the parts where it was like, I should be dead. Luckily, I'm not. Anyway, still rich. Also, like,
he used to shop at the same grocery store as me.
Oh, really?
When I lived in Seattle and I was working night shift.
Yeah.
I lived across the street from like a Safeway, and he would also shop in the middle of the night because he didn't want, like, you know, people to harass the shit out of him.
Yeah.
So, and apparently he's not rich enough to just send someone to the grocery store for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was funny because then he would come in and like everybody working there would be like, "Yo, that stuff."
Yeah. Well,
like,
yeah. Well, okay. So if anyone wants to like, sort of, I don't know if anyone's interested in getting a head start on this episode, there's a Duff McKagan documentary on Netflix called "It's So Easy and Other Lies." And it's basically just specifically about Duff. Like, there's a good amount of Guns N' Roses, but it's really focused on Duff. And it's him reading from his autobiography. So it's based on his book.
But did he write it, or was it ghostwritten? Like,
I think, okay, so I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to ruin too much of what I have to say about it. But let's just say I'm pretty sure he wrote it.
Oh, okay.
And okay.
I think I know why you would.
We'll get into it.
I think I know why you would.
It's bad. And then I don't know if you want like. And then when we have Eric, we'll talk about the X Japan one too. That was kind of cool.
Okay, yeah, I have not seen that yet.
I might actually buy it just because I liked it, and I wouldn't mind watching it again sometime. So maybe I'll get it if you want to see it.
You saw it in the theater, right?
No, I didn't get around to it, so I ended up just like on Amazon, like renting it because I was like, I'm not gonna want to see this because Eric was like, oh, it's not that great, and like they do gloss over some stuff, but I still enjoyed it, and there's enough of the music in there and stuff that makes it interesting. I always like when, you know when it sucks when they do a documentary about a band and then there's like no live footage of them performing or whatever. But this was actually pretty good in terms of, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be like hard hitting in depth because it's like I think they were behind it. It was kind of help promote it was basically let the rest of the world, or basically let the United States know that they're super famous everywhere else, and like they're a big deal everywhere else, but stupid Americans don't like anything that isn't in English.
The way that they got popular in America was through anime, actually.
Oh yeah.
Well, and that's why when we went to the show, there was like all those kids.
Yeah, and it was interesting though because it also made me realize two important things. One, they influenced like all these Japanese bands after them. And two, the reason I don't like any of those bands is because when I hear them, I'm always like, that's not as good as X Japan.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, this is, so that's why I don't listen to all those other Japanese bands because they aren't X Japan.
Well, right. So I think Makeup's actually a better band, but they're at the same time. Right. They weren't like,
they weren't, no, they weren't so much, they weren't so much a follow. They were,
but yeah, all the bands that kind of came afterwards, like, yeah, you're right. It's like, no, just listen to the original, man.
Yeah. All right, so we'll do that coming up. Oh, did we talk about the Black Hole Sun video?
Oh, we definitely need to talk about this.
We'll do that, and that'll probably be the last thing I have time for.
We absolutely need to talk about this piece of garbage.
So,
are you going to show part of it?
Yes.
So people know what the hell we're talking about? So I'll set it up while you find it.
You set it up.
Okay, so as everyone knows, Chris Cornell recently passed away, and that we're not really sure what happened there, but that's super unfortunate. Soundgarden is one of my favorite bands of all time. One of the best shows I ever saw was Soundgarden in Newark. That's really cool. The thing, since his death, there's been a lot of like, hey, let's just crank out Soundgarden content, right? Including like, there's this article in Metal Injection.
Oh yeah,
that was scroll up so I can get my quote. No, the other way.
Oh,
sorry. It's less of an article, and it's more like the first 2 minutes of conversation you would have with someone that you met at a bar because they noticed you were wearing a Super Unknown shirt. Okay, It is not an article. Right. It is pure like, hey guys, can you crank out some Soundgarden content because that's really driving search traffic right now. Organic traffic. We gotta double down on that.
What pisses me off about it is the fact that they're like, first of all, like every week, first it's examining the Wednesday Sludge, examining Soundgarden Super Unknown, and then it says every week Nick Huber dissects the heavy riffs of bands new and old in the Wednesday Sludge. But there's no dissecting or even examining. It's literally just like, so there was this band Soundgarden,
and they had these songs.
And here's what happened. And then they have to go through every album they put out leading up to it. Like first they put out this, and then they put out this, and that was a little more like this, and then they put out this, and they had these songs on it, and also these songs. It's like, did you just read their Wikipedia and like copy and paste? Like
I just have to point out one other thing. It's not the Nick Huber who makes the insanely expensive guitars. It's NIC versus K. Just want to point that out. But yeah, bizarre. It's like, and apparently this is a series. I couldn't steel myself to read any of their other.
I didn't even finish reading it because I was like, this is so worthless. All right, where's the other? I'm trying to find it.
Oh, there it is. You're trying to find the video. So anyway, so this guy put out this. His contribution to the piling on opportunistic let's talk about Soundgarden was he did a quote unquote music theory analysis of Black Hole Sun, right? Which is basically like Soundgarden had exposure on MTV before this, right? They with like Jesus Christ Pose and Rusty Cage, right? But like Black Hole Sun was the song that really like Super Unknown sold like 9 million copies or something, right? And it was mostly because of this song. Like this was the song that. So anyway, so this guy does this analysis, and I guess I disagree pretty strongly with what he says. I guess we can watch some of it.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be
so people have an idea of what the hell I'm talking about.
Here it is.
Oh no, yeah, here it is.
All right.
This is the video.
get the audio on.
He does this like sketching thing.
Broke that Chris Cornell, lead singer of Soundgarden as well as their primary songwriter, had passed away. It's a great loss for the world of music, and today
great loss. I actually take objection to that term, by the way, too. Great loss. That just sounds wrong to me.
Okay,
but
so
anyway.
right away. Okay, so I've seen this style of video before, and it's interesting because it fills space. It makes it seem like there's more going on because you have to draw everything rather than just sort of putting the image up, and that's kind of interesting.
Was it a music theory video or just a time-lapse drawing?
No, just in general, different types of video. In fact, one of them, one guy who does this very well, actually. As I was still trying to figure out what the fuck he does, Casey Neistat, he's like super. He actually does some documentary stuff, and he's known for some film stuff, but. I just kept seeing him pop up on YouTube, and every time he did it, he'd just be like skateboarding somewhere in New York and just filming himself skateboarding to the office. And then I was like, but what do you do? Like, so, but he's very successful as vlogging. So I was just watching him to see how he vlogs and stuff. And he does this thing where he can explain something, maybe it's about film or whatever. He grabs these like markers and he starts drawing like little individual things. And he holds them up one at a time, like, and he also has a second camera, showing him drawing it. And it worked really well. This, on the other hand, is him scribbling fucking nonsense. Right. So much of what he scribbles is pointless.
It's doodles.
And it's doodles and has no purpose. It's like he's just trying to draw whatever he said and doesn't have anything to draw half the time. It's so unhelpful. Anyway, all right.
Composition that's both disorienting and deeply moving, but how does it work? Well, first things first, the
song
tuning
is
on the
nonsense,
song
by the
isn't
way.
normal.
It's
they
not
seem to
deeply
have tuned
moving.
everything
It's
a little
nonsense.
bit sharp. This
Which
adds
Chris
an
Cornell
extra
said
edge to it,
in
making it
several
feel
interviews.
slightly unnerving in a way that's hard to identify, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm just gonna round to the nearest standard note name. Anyway, it starts like this.
Oh yeah, he's like here too, like a quarter tone sharp. But that's not like on purpose. It's not a strange tuning. There's just a string was out of tune. It was the 90s. That happened a lot.
Well, especially when things were recorded on tape.
Yeah.
Like, whatchamacallit, that psychodrama album, it's a quarter tone flat. The whole album.
Yeah, there's a Rush album that's like it might even be like a half step sharp or something, or like probably quarter tone actually. But yeah, it's like, so this is another a theme that will repeat as it goes on, where it's like you're attributing, and this is a recurring theme for me, is you're attributing credit for something that just sort of happened.
Right.
You're like, oh, interesting. It's a quarter tone sharp. What a strange
No, it's just fucking sharp.
And so
There's
get on
no
with your life.
deep
Like,
meaning.
right.
It's just, it was
It's
fucking
a rock
sharp.
song on guitars. Like, what do you fucking want?
And the first thing we need to do is figure out which chords he's playing. At a glance, it looks like the chord changes twice per bar, so if we group those notes together,
My bad. I did not put the thing on the screen
we
until
get
just
something
now.
a little more manageable. The first chord
It's
is what's
fine,
called a
but now you're
suspended,
all
where
there.
the third
Yeah,
degree
you
has
can
been
see all the
replaced by the
fucking-
fourth, giving it a hanging, suspended feel.
And this in
It's
particular,
not
look at
clear
like
yet
fucking
whether we're in
butterfly.
major or minor.
Right, and
Next we
he's-
go to G
picture
minor,
of a
so it
face
seems like our
confused.
suspension
because
has
he's, like,
resolved. But then at the
hanging,
last
or he's, like,
second, the
floating,
guitar
and
plays
he's,
the
like,
fourth
hanging.
again, which leaves us still a little off balance, even though we have our answer. Then
Good
he
thing
does
we-
this. And that's just fairly simple descending power chords. A power chord is when you've only got a root and a fifth. These notes are highly consonant, so it removes...
So this other thing he does to fill space is every and this is I was saying my friend Marcel, who's on Trapped in the Closet episode, he knew a guy who I think we're gonna at some point talk about his videos from Berkeley, who does a similar thing but with like jazz theory, but it's a similar amount of like unnecessary complexity and looking for meaning that isn't there, and but also just sort of like have to stop and explain every little like he basically like saying, like, again, he's explaining what power chord is, right? And so it's this whole like, I'm gonna explain this
it's
really
like,
simple song.
Right, who is this for?
Right.
Like, if you have to explain what a power chord is, you're
then you're not gonna
supposed
care
conversation
about all this
modal borrowing, right?
And
It's
this,
like,
so yeah. Oh,
Set
a lot
level
of the
set,
complexity
bro.
from your harmony and leaves you with a sense of openness and strength instead. The second one is a bit strange since we seem to be in G minor and there's no E natural in that key, but that gets explained quickly as we go to this, an E flat chord. The harmony is just
That
sliding down
explains
a
it,
half
and
step
not
at
just
a
that, he
time.
just
I like to
decided to
break this
play
chord
that-
into two parts.
random
First, there's
chord,
these 3 notes,
like most
which
of
are
the
just a
90s.
continuation of that power chord line from before, and then there's this note on top, which technically makes this another sus chord, but I don't think it really acts like one. Instead, it goes here, and that strange note has just resolved up a half step. This leaves us on something like D7. This is what's called a dominant function chord, and it should point us back to G, but in order to do that, it needs to use a leading tone, a note that sits a half step below the root of the key. In this case, that should be F sharp, but there's no actual F sharp.
So
Okay,
how is
right.
drawing a set of stairs helpful? That's distracting. It's like there's got to be like I'm sure there's some psychological principle that explains how what he is doing is more harmful than helpful, because literally just him drawing stairs, I had to stop and go, why is he drawing stairs? Oh, he said it's because leading tone is a half step below the note. So drawing a set of like he leads me so far away that he's drawn
Yeah.
3 more pointless things before I catch up again, because I'm like, why did you draw stairs? Oh, a half step.
Yeah,
unnecessary.
So I just want to point out, because his argument, maybe we can freeze frame it where you can see the notes.
I'm gonna swap it so it's
So it's full.
Yeah. Boink.
So he's the big one. Okay,
Yeah.
and then can we get it where we can see the notes, or we can see at least his chord names instead of his hairy arm?
Oh yeah.
So maybe just
to be found here,
there
so
you
that
go,
direction.
right there. Okay, so the crux of this dude's argument. So now we have to make a couple notes here real quick. So the name of the channel, I think, is 12 Tone or something. If people want to go look this up, and they make music theory videos or whatever. Okay, in this guy's defense, or like not defense, but I want to give props to this dude, because I left a comment on his video saying like, this is absurd, and he replied back in a very like civil discourse manner, right? He wasn't like, fuck you, dude. like you don't know shit. He was like he was willing to engage in the conversation as like an adult.
Yeah.
So props to him. But he's still wrong. So the thing is, so essentially his claim here is that you're in G minor, and so essentially like you have G and then you have D7 as the dominant. But as he's pointed out, it's not actually a D7, and it's missing like so. Okay, what you learn when you study actual composition in theory is that you don't have to have all the notes in a chord to imply the chord, right? But the reason why it implies one chord and it implies a different chord that's missing notes from is because of certain particular notes that make it unambiguous, okay? And in a dominant, in order to imply the dominant, you need the tritone. Like you have to have the third, you need the leading tone, right? Yeah. And he's like, it's not there. So you can't take that. So then the other thing is, he basically does, you'll notice if you watch the video without us talking over it, he keeps saying things like, normally it would, but and then it would, but it doesn't quite do that. And it's like, right, because your whole way of thinking about this is wrong. That's why nothing is occurring in the way that you would expect it to, because A, Chris Cornell wasn't thinking about this. B, there are certain things where people didn't sit down and say, I'm going to be in this key and I'm going to use progression. But you can go back and you can say, well, that's clearly what you did. Yeah. This is not one of those cases. This is literally chromatic voice leading, and it's not counterpoint because you have parallel descending perfect intervals. And then it's not functional harmony tonic dominant because you don't have the tritone resolution to the tonic.
He keeps, like you said, he keeps on telling you what he thinks it could be, but then why it's not.
Right, he's like, it's not quite that thing, but it totally is.
But then he continues to explain that thing, and also that's the thing. He keeps basically being like, well, but right, it's working from a false presumption from the beginning, which is that Chris Cornell,
the frame of reference that he has,
which is that Chris or Kim or whoever wrote the guitar part was sitting there going, well, I'm in G, but there's no E flat. It's like, no, but he's not thinking that. He's just going burn. Like it's a 90s rock song.
Little Soundgarden history for you. part of the reason their sound sort of like, if you've ever heard Screaming Life or Fop, like they don't sound like late Soundgarden, right? And even there's a big change between Louder Than Love and Bad Motorfinger, and that's because when Hero, the original bass player, left the band, Ben Shepherd came and knew theory and was the one who was like, dudes, we're gonna like write songs, right? And not just like riffs. And they were like, oh, and that's not what happened here. And right, so there's two really huge problems with this. One, it's like he's doing all these mental acrobatics to like fit it into his box, which is like tonal functional music theory, which this is not. Okay, and then secondly, it's exactly shit like this that make people be like, music theory is so hard and confusing. It's like, yeah, because when you like make up some bullshit like this that's not like tonal theory, yeah, it's gonna be confusing as fuck. But when you instead just say, no, like, you see how the notes in the second chord are all really close to the notes in the first chord, and the notes in the third chord are really close to the other one? It's just smooth voice leading. That's the entire fucking analysis that you need. It's smooth voice leading. That's it. You don't need to say anything else. All this fucking so it's a sus chord. Let me tell you something. Outside of guitar playing, there's no such thing as a sus chord. I really need to stress this really hard, because you will get these books of like guitar chords, right? And they will say that there's a sus chord. Okay, I need to explain what this is. So there is actually a thing in music theory, and it's called the suspension. And what it is when you play one chord and then you play another chord, but instead of playing like, okay, I have the notes of chord A, and now I have the notes of chord B. You play some of the notes from chord B, but you maintain one of the notes from chord A that then, in the middle of the bar, resolves downwards and completes chord B. And so it was suspended, and then it came down. So the thing is, that time, right, where you're half of chord A and half of chord B, you are not playing a sus chord. There is a thing called a suspension that resolves. Yeah. But when you just play those notes and it's not suspended over and it never resolves down by a step, that is not a sus chord. That's just a different chord. And the other thing is, typically the term chord is reserved for groups of notes that are based on, again, like tonal theory, where they're built in thirds, so they're called tertian. And when it's not that, i.e. a sus chord, it's just a simultaneity. It's not like a chord. It's just notes that happen at the same time. He's done so much mental acrobatics, and like there's a really simple way to explain this, and I just think he's unaware. And I was like, I left a comment. You should be able to find it on the video. I'm just like, dude, have you ever heard of non-functional harmony? I'm like, I don't know anything about you. I've never seen any of your videos. I don't know what your background is. If you don't know what non-functional harmony is, please look it up. Like, that's basically what I said. And then he replied, and I haven't replied back because I was just like, I didn't really see the utility beyond, like, I don't know. Maybe I'll go reply after this podcast. I'll be like, hey, we talked to. I addressed this in length on the show. And just one other comment I made on it was because Ivan, Guitar Messenger Ivan, brought this video to my attention. You don't need. I want to be really clear. You don't need a key to have a tonal center.
Here's some other good comments. I'm trying to find yours, but I found a few that are good.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, this one's kind of dumb because they're basically like, you're trying to explain something that's intuitive, which is true. It was more of, again, as we talk about like intuitive versus technical, it's like an intuitively written song. You just fucking wrote a song on guitar.
Right, the notes are close to each other.
Didn't fucking think about it.
That's all it is. The notes are close to each other.
But unfortunately, this person then says like, and wrote this melody by his heart. I'm like, all right, settle down. Yeah. But this one is good. How does tuning everything a quarter note sharp make it feel unnerving? Shouldn't only people with perfect pitch notice this? Or is only melody line tuned up? Exactly. Yeah, and then more people saying, like, I guarantee they didn't think about any of this. Like, of course not.
So I went on the dude's Twitter, too, right? Because I wanted to see, like, if he had a music degree or what. And he's like, I didn't think the rest of my life would be explaining to people that I know that Chris Cornell didn't know music theory. And it's like, or answering
Whose
comments.
Whose fault is that?
It's like, well, dude.
Whose fault?
Maybe you should have not tried to do it. This is seriously like square peg round hole kind of stuff. It's like, bro, that's not what's happening. It's not what's happening.
Yeah, all right, I can't find your comment, but
Yeah, but that's fine. But like that's it. We don't need to watch any more of the video.
We don't have to
like the other
more
just the one other point I need to make. You don't need to have a key to have a tonic, right? Like that's Wagner taught us that in the 1860s. So for everyone who's like, no, but G is definitely the one chord. I'm like, oh, G sus4 is definitely the one chord. Okay, G sus4, which is not a chord, can definitely be the one chord here. That doesn't mean it's in the key of G minor. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's probably a good place to end.
Yeah, that's
unless we have any more wild speculating to do.
No, I don't have any other Music Wars items for this week.
There is a war for your ears. Music Wars.
Yeah.
And then the actual theme song.
Yeah.
Just to play us out.
Play us out.
Thanks. Actually, I gotta start. I guess I didn't hit the fade button. Instead, I just hit up. All right, my bad. Anyway, no, I gotta start at the end of saying, if you haven't already and you enjoyed this episode, give us a like if you're on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit us up on Facebook. Probably the best place to hit us up if you would like to give us any suggestions or tell us we're wrong.
If you want to argue about how Black Hole Sun is in G minor,
we are willing to argue with you about things.
you can come on the show. We will argue with you.
You can come on the show, and we're also going to get remote, Google Hangout episodes going very soon. So
yeah, we got to do one with Dave from Guitar Happy Hour.
Yeah, we have to, because I listened to fucking Continuum by John Mayer, the best John Mayer album. What? I was like, what the shit? Anyway, I don't want to. We'll save it for Dave.
But Dave was kind enough to have me on his show, so we're gonna have Dave on this show.
Yeah, and his show is really good. It's
it is a good
Happy
show.
Hour. He also has Studio Happy Hour.
He likes some bad music like John Mayer.
But a lot of people do. It's interesting. I want to talk to him because I'm like, what? Tell me, what do you feel is happening here that is good? Or like, if this album came out in like the 70s, maybe, but it came out in 2006. Like, I just don't know.
You are 25 years too late.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, thanks. Later. I'm turning.